Professor Stephen Oppenheimer is one of the world's foremost authorities on current genetic research into DNA tracking. By putting together the genetic tree with prehistoric weather patterns, he is one of the first to come up with the extraordinary idea that our ancestors came out of Africa by a single southern route.
This beach is on the west coast of the Red Sea, the African side. Over on the other side, we can see the mountains of the Yemen. I believe this is where our ancestors crossed on the first stage of their journey to the rest of the world. These straits are known locally to fishermen as the Gates of Grief because of the terrible, fierce currents crossing. But 80,000 years ago, the sea level was 150 foot further down. As a result, a number of islands and reefs appeared, which allowed our ancestors to cross, as it were, on stepping stones, over to the Yemen.
Driven by hunger, shrinking habitat, and maybe the first stirrings of the restless human curiosity about the land ahead, our precious group of modern humans prepared to move.
There are two routes out of Africa. The north of the Red Sea, across the Suez and into the Middle East, and here in the south, across the Gates of Grief, into the Yemen, and on through the South Arabian coast to India. Both routes are possible, but to get through to the north, our ancestors would have had to have crossed the Sahara Desert. And at the time, it was even drier than it is today. Here in the south, all they had to do was to cross this short stretch of water, only 10 miles across, to the Yemen. So this was a region they could go to with confidence. I believe the most important journey the human race ever took started here on this beach 80,000 years ago.
One small group of people, one exodus, the single most important event in the population of the world. This is no single trudge across the sandbanks. This was an epic struggle to stay alive, not just for themselves, but the rest of mankind. Those who survived the crossing, who didn't succumb to the dangers of the Gates of Grief, came to a virgin land. This is the new frontier and the beginning of the rest of the world.
The Yemen beaches were on the edge of an almost empty world. Our group were the first modern humans, the first of their kind outside Africa, surviving in this place at that time. This group was on their own at the edge of the new world. Life would have been a bit better for our migrants across into the Yemen. For a start, the beachcombing in the Gulf of Aden would have been a lot better than on the Red Sea.
Unlike the parched, salty beaches they had left, the Yemen was green and fertile, full of fresh water, game, and shady oases, safe haven for a family to settle.
They were probably a small group, maybe maximum about 250 persons. They would have been scattered around in family units of 5 to 20, but networking with the other groups in the population. Anything less than about 200 would not have been viable. They would not have been able to cope with epidemics of disease or famine.
We know Eve and her daughters were among the survivors because from them are descended everyone in the world outside Africa. The new science of tracking is a breakthrough. Using the single unbroken mitochondrial genetic line, scientists constructed a vast family tree that shows that once outside of Africa, our ancestors split up, some going north and west, some going east and south. Once they had left Africa and the Yemen, they went their separate ways, never to meet again.